Nerd Takes.
Nerd Takes.
Nerd Takes.
I'm Justin. That's John.
I'm Andrew.
There we go. We are here to review the Green River Cask Strength Bourbon. You can see the bottle right in front of you. You probably can't see what it's shaped like, but it is shaped like a horseshoe.
Yeah.
It's
Cool
pretty
bottle.
cool.
It is a pretty cool bottle.
The company actually that makes this is the Bardstown Bourbon Company, and the distillery is Green River Distilling Company.
I did not know that.
All right.
Well, you're going to learn a little bit more about it too here in a
Here we
second.
go.
So Green River Straight Bourbon is crafted, this is according to their website, is crafted on the historic Green River campus in Owensburg, Kentucky. And over its storied past, numerous brands have been made there. So here's some brands that come out of Owensboro. Ezra Brooks, Mellow Corn, Medley Brothers, Old Medley, Five Brothers, and Kentucky Bow. I've heard of a couple of those.
Mm-hmm.
According to Green River, Terrasentia Corporation purchased the distillery in 2014 and began renovation. In 2016, the distillery laid down their first barrels, and acting master distiller John Call passed the torch to his son, Jacob Call. In 2020, Green River Distilling Co. returned to its original name, and in 2022 was purchased by Bardstown Bourbon Company. So that makes sense why you wouldn't know it's by Bardstown. They just got them 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This particular bottle is a blend of 5 to 7 year barrels selected from areas of Green River's Owensboro tile warehouse. And they're planning on doing this every year, but batches will vary, and obviously the proof will change, just like with most of these type of annual releases. There's not an actual age statement on the bottle, but they're saying it's between a 5 and 7 year old bourbon. This one currently is 117.3 proof. It has a mash bill of 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. MSRP $50.
That's what I got it for.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I remember when, speaking of Green River, when they first kind of relaunched the brand and the small batch came out, like it actually got pretty good reviews. So I went out and somehow found that somewhere, and I have that sitting on my shelf at home.
Well, you told me to buy this, or at least you had mentioned it.
This one also got good reviews. Like when it came out, this one has also gotten some decent reviews, and it was kind of one of those things of like, oh, let's try that.
Yeah.
So
well, let's get into the tasting, and I'll just let you know that according to their website, the color is chestnut. I always like the color because
now everybody looks at the glass. Like,
obviously it's
That's
chestnut.
what chestnut looks like.
That's what chestnut looks like.
So what we're going to do is everyone's going to give us, we're going to go through nose, we're going to go through palate, and we're going to go through finish. These guys are going to tell me what they think, and then I'll tell you what the website wants us to know.
So I'm getting some kind of funk. I don't know what it is.
Are you sure that wasn't your shirt?
Positive. This shirt is definitely clean. Not a bad funk, but just kind of a like, I don't know. I got to go back in, but there's definitely some kind of like, there's something different. Like, I don't know if it's like grass.
So
or like
me,
earth, something earthy.
I didn't get any earthy. The first time I smelled it, it was all caramel, super sweet. Like, that's all I got was sweet.
So on the sweetness, for whatever reason, strawberry comes out, and I don't know why.
I mean, I know what it's going to say here in a second, but I do think, just having taken the nose, I do think the sweetness far overpowers anything else that's in there. I'm assuming this is going to be a very sweet tasting bardstown before I try it.
Based on that, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. There's just something out there that I just can't put my finger on. That's the non-sweet aspect of this.
Bardstown makes a couple of funky bourbons, so it's possible that
It could be.
some of the funk is,
Some
got the funk.
warehouse funk.
Yeah, it's got the funk.
According to their website, here are their notes for the nose. A classic fare of vanilla, caramel, and oak, which makes sense. It also has, further enhancing the aroma are hits of dry leather, which I think is probably what you're getting at. That's probably
That
the
might
funk.
be the
That might be it.
funkiness.
Spicy cinnamon and bourbon-soaked cherries.
Okay, and maybe that's the strawberry that I'm
Pitted
getting.
fruit.
Yeah, some kind of fruit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Stone
a lot of those dried fruits, pitted fruits, it's hard to distinguish one in particular sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially a bourbon-soaked cherry.
That's right. All right, what about
Bourbon-soaked
Oddly
anything.
specific.
Very specific.
have you guys tried it yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Any thoughts?
yeah, sweet off the bat. I mean, your typical bourbon, caramel, vanilla, those things. As it finishes, I got into the stone fruit. I got your nutmeg, allspice, that kind of thing. Longer finish than I think I expected for a $50 barrel, or $50 bottle. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
I do get the leather though, also
Yeah.
on the palate as
Yeah.
well, just a little bit.
I think that
'cause
there's some of that dryness.
yeah, that's the dryness.
I'll agree, though. I think that this has a surprise. I didn't expect it to have this long of a finish or this warm of a finish, right? A lot of times when you get I mean, this is a relatively new offering from this company, and despite it being barrel proof, a lot of times it's $50. You kind of assume it's going to be, hot, spicy, and then kind of go away pretty quick. And this has actually a pretty spectacular finish.
It does for at the price point, which I
Yeah.
know our producer's a big fan of making sure he finds something at the price point. Well, and we all are. I mean, and that's kind of my barometer for a lot of this stuff is, I mean, it's not this. It's something that we'll be trying shortly. It's the Elijah Craig barrel proof of like, am I going to spend money on this or will I just buy another bottle of that? Because I know what I'm going to get and I know it's going to be cheaper and I know it's going to be good. So
I think this has a really nice balance of heat, but also sweetness.
Absolutely.
It's not overpowering, doesn't kill your taste buds. And it's got a really good finish. So according to the website, the palate, we are supposed to be getting, caramel is supposed to be dominating. We also have cream candy and brown sugar to add more sweetness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, just dark fruit notes, which Andrew, you mentioned. And so that's pretty much it. A little bit of honey and barrel char, which is kind of what they all do for the most part. What about finish? John, what do you got?
I mean, it's a lot of the same where you have, I mean, obviously you have the warmth. It's relatively long lasting for as young as this is. It's impressive actually, from a finish perspective. And it's a lot of the same flavors really. It's like you still get the sweetness, you get the barrel char, I think is probably what I was getting. Like that could have been that leather note that I was picking up. It was probably the barrel char. You definitely just get a little bit of that and some of the spice. That's just kind of lingering. I did add some water to it, so I on the retaste after adding water, definitely get a lot of the caramel on the palate. Like it kind of opens that up a little bit more where it's more prominent.
Andrew, what do you got?
No, I mean echoing all of that. I think I put some water in it this time, and it opened it up quite a bit. You got a lot more of the caramel. But the finish is still there. So even adding a little bit of water, it didn't
kill the finish.
It didn't kill it at all.
Well, according to the website, the finish is dark fruits, barrel char, supposed to help ramp up the finish, which I think we could all agree that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Also, we're supposed to be getting some layers of oak, rice spice that also kind of help with the heat. So
Okay.
I
I
get
get the
see the
spice.
rye.
I get the
kind of
spice.
designed almost to start sweet and finish hot,
Yeah,
which is
which I dig.
which
Like,
is
I
right up
really
your
like
alley.
that.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
this is going to be a higher ranking than you guys probably think it should be. Producer Justin, thoughts?
So John, to echo you, I got strawberry when I first tasted it. I was
Right?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I got that. And I was like, oh, okay, this is different. I think it's the caramel, the vanilla, and the cherries combined together kind of created that.
That
that's
makes
kinda
sense.
What I
Yeah.
thought. But I love how sweet this is. But also, I don't normally like the hot stuff like you do. But I actually really like this.
Well,
And
this
then
it punches above its weight.
it punches
For sure.
way high, and this is what. Yeah, I would gladly sip on this on a daily
Well,
basis.
you can find this, and I mean, I found it at MSRP,
Yeah.
just out in the wild.
And that's the beauty of an affordable, readily available bottle of bourbon is right up my alley. That's
I think it's right up
This is a
everybody's alley.
great like value for money on this is sky high.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good bourbon, and for $50, it's even better.
Yeah. Let's give it a rating then. John, you want to go first?
I can go first. Yeah, I was toying with this. I'm gonna use one of our new ones. I'm gonna go. You know what? No, I'm gonna go Stormtrooper. I was debating going Sweaty Luke, which is the 7.5.
I couldn't remember what we
Sweaty.
decided was.
Oh, that's Sweaty Luke because
Okay,
he's
all right.
sweaty in Dagobah and he's sweaty in the Stormtrooper outfit. But I'm gonna bump it up. I'm gonna go Stormtrooper Luke. I'm gonna go an 8.
You know, that's literally all I've been thinking about for the last 5 minutes is what is a 7.5? I couldn't think of it.
Sweaty Luke.
Now I know. For future reference. Andrew?
Yeah, no, echoing that, I think for me it's a solid 8. I think it's a delicious bourbon, great finish. I love what you said. Starting out sweet, finishing hot.
Yep.
I'm gonna hold off on my next comment on that, but yeah, solid New Hope, Luke.
I'm doing the same thing. I think New Hope is the move, or not New Hope. I'm sorry, Stormtrooper. Luke.
Stormtrooper.
Yeah, and I am trying to grade harder with these. So even though I'm saying the
Me
same
too.
as you, I actually that is a much more. If you had asked me this a year ago, I probably would have been like, Red 5, Luke,
10.
Maybe even going 10. Luke Skywalker, fuck it, who cares? I'll just add 11, 12, 13, doesn't matter.
Just Mandalorian Luke.
Right. Just everything's Mandalorian, Luke. But I think that the Stormtrooper Luke, like again, you factor in price, you factor in even if you like sweet versus hot, you're getting both in this.
Both.
And the finish is like pretty spectacular.
Well, and there's
all things considered, right?
And despite how young it is, like there's not a lot of that astringency that you sometimes get with a younger barrel-proof bourbon, where it's just kind of like it just kind of stings you just because it can, and you don't get a lot of that. I mean, I got a little bit on the nose, but it was always, oddly enough, it was always on the, like you nose it once and you get everything, and then I would go in for a second time, and that's where I'd get it. Like that's where I'd get the sting on the nose, but that was it. There was nothing on the palate. The warmth on the finish was warmth. It wasn't burn or heat or anything like that.
Yeah. I think the distiller did a great job with the blend because it doesn't come off like a young bourbon.
Nope.
It's not hot. It doesn't finish too fast. Nothing like that. Like they did a really, really fantastic job with the blend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Producer Justin, what's your score?
Well, actually, I'm right in line with an 8. However, I'm going to go ahead and go Sweaty Luke only because I spent an hour and a half editing that out of your last episode, or editing that through your last episode, and the fact that you can't even remember it, I'm like, no, Sweaty Luke.
It's Sweaty Luke.
Well, listen,
you're not going to doubt.
I'm pretty sure last time that was like tasting 4.
It was number 4.
We tend to forget things.
Drift.
It gets interesting after a couple.
Well, I think this is a great blend, and I think this is a really great offering, and I'm excited to see what they do for this annually, and I think that'll be a fun future episode.
See what happens next year.
And
25 to 24. Yeah.
Totally, and if this is an indication of what this distillery is going to come out with, then it's going to be some good stuff for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, until next time.
Nerd takes.
Nerd takes.